Hey there, my name is Marley. Welcome to my booktube channel. Today I'm going to be recommending books based on your zodiac sign. This is something that's pretty common on booktube, but I have always wanted to do my own version of this, and it's actually pretty shocking that I haven't already done this type of recommendation video because I have done multiple zodiac or like astrology related videos before, and I think one of my very first videos I ever did was recommending TV shows based on your zodiac sign. But finally I am doing book recommendations based on your zodiac sign, and I chose 2 books for each sign, so let's get into it. First of all, we're going to start out with Aries, which is of course the first sign in the zodiac, the leader, the ram. First of all, I wanted to recommend The Perfect Ruin by Shanora Williams for Aries. This is a thriller, and I think thrillers or action-packed books would be really good for Aries. I see Aries as kind of like chaotic. As I already said before, they're leaders, they're very passionate. I feel like they have a bit of an angry streak. The reason I think The Perfect Ruin would be good for them is that this is about a character who has been wronged and she is out for revenge. And basically we just know that someone kind of ruined her life when she was young, and when she finds out the name of this person finally after years of resentment, she crafts this plan to get revenge and infiltrate this person's life and just ruin their life. And I feel like honestly that seems like an Aries thing to do. Aries, I feel, you know, because they're fire signs, they're very passionate. I feel like they would potentially relate to this book or just find it very entertaining. It certainly was an entertaining book. Next up, for a similar reason, I thought I would recommend Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This is about 2 men whose sons were both murdered, and their sons were actually gay and in a relationship together. But these 2 men were kind of homophobic. They weren't really accepting of their sons when they were alive. But now that they've been killed, they take it upon themselves to get revenge, try and find out who killed their sons, and then kill them. So again, I felt like Aries would really like the action and kind of the violence that's in this book. It's another thriller. You know, they're very determined, and I feel like these books both feature very determined characters. So those are my recommendations for Aries. Next up, of course, we have Taurus, which is an earth sign. First of all, I wanted to recommend Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This is actually a romance book. Tauruses are known to be like sensual and stuff, so I felt like I needed to recommend a romance for Taurus. This book is about 2 characters who are actually both doctors and work at the same hospital. They end up kind of getting off on the wrong foot, not really getting along, and then they start to build a relationship through letters, so writing letters to each other, very romantic, and then they actually start fake dating for a reason that's helpful for our main hero. His brother is getting married to his ex-girlfriend, so he kind of wants a, you know, fake girlfriend to show everyone like, I'm fine, I've moved on, like they can go forward with this wedding. So anyways, this fake dating sort of situation comes up. But yeah, I think it would be good for Taurus because I find our main character is very like strong-willed, stubborn, which we know Tauruses are. I feel like they could relate to this, and this is actually like my favorite romance I've ever read, so I just need to start recommending this book more. Then I also want to recommend to Taurus Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid, but this is about our main character Carrie, and she's a famous tennis player, like the best female tennis player in the world basically, but she ends up retiring due to an injury. But when this new up-and-coming tennis player seems like she's gonna beat her record, Carrie decides to start training again and try and win another Grand Slam or whatever so she can hold her title of the most Grand Slams. So I thought Tauruses would really like this because clearly Carrie is a very stubborn and determined character. She's also very loyal. She doesn't get along with many people, but the people she does get along with, I find she's very loyal to, such as her father. It's a really nice father-daughter story in this. And yeah, I think Tauruses would connect with it. Next up, we have Gemini, the twins. First of all, I wanted to recommend Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. This is a thriller, and I think thrillers would be good for Gemini because they are very curious. And this is a thriller that I thought had a really good mystery and a really good twist. We're following this family who is getting together at their grandma's house, I think because for the grandma's birthday or some sort of event like that. And then basically, I'm pretty sure it's a Then There Were None retelling where the family members start getting killed one by one, and we're having these flashbacks to find out like what has gone on in the family, why there is tension between them and drama, and why someone would want to be killing them. I read this in one sitting, which honestly I think is why I'm not exactly remembering all the details of the synopsis, because I literally read it it so quick, but I know I was so impressed with it. It was 5 stars, one of my favorite books, probably one of my favorite thrillers. So I think Geminis and their little curious minds would be very interested in this. There's also definitely some like morally gray or like not great characters. I feel like Geminis are very empathetic and like can see multiple sides. They would understand the morally gray characters and kind of find that interesting. I also think a romance book that they would like would be One True Loves by Miss Taylor Jenkins Reid again. This is about a woman who had this really great, you know, relationship and marriage, but then her husband actually died in a helicopter accident. She has a really hard time moving on, but she eventually does move on with this other man and she's engaged to him. When her original husband is found, he's been surviving like on an island or something for all these years, but he is back, and now she kind of has to decide what she's going to do, if she's going to stay with her current fiance or go back to her original true love, which was her husband. I love this book. It was so emotional and I just thought it dealt with some really interesting real themes, you know? And I think that Geminis would definitely relate to like considering multiple options. They're known as the twins for having like multiple personalities, being very adaptive and kind of open-minded. And I think because of that, they would enjoy the themes that are explored here and maybe relate to them. Next up, we have Cancer, which I think their sign is the crab, their symbol. But I would recommend Aristotle and Dante, Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire Sainz. This is one of my favorite YA books of all time. It's so beautiful. Another book I read in a day. Basically, we're following these 2 boys who are Mexican American, I believe. It's just really dealing with their like self-identity. They're questioning their sexualities, their place in the world. We're seeing kind of their family issues and stuff like that. It's definitely a coming of age story, and Cancers I feel would be very into stories like this that can be very like sappy and emotional. I feel like they're pretty in touch with their emotions like that, and so I think they would really enjoy a book like this and enjoy the tears and feels that it brings. After giving them more of an emotional book, I thought I would recommend them a cozier book just to kind of cheer them up in case they are feeling rather emotional as a water sign. Twice Shy by Sarah Hogle is a romance book I read recently and thought was really, really sweet and really, really cute and like fluffy. So this might be a nice break for them to stop feeling so emotional and just have like a nice, happy, fun time. This is following a girl who is left her aunt's house in the will. She goes to the house, but then finds out that another guy was also left the house, so they have to share it, and they both have different ideas for what they want out of this property, like what businesses they want to make on this property. And so there's a lot of butting heads and some like enemies to lovers, grumpy sunshine stuff, but then they end up both having to work together to clean up this house, and they grow closer. There is still some depth to it as one of our characters experiences a lot of anxiety, but overall it's just a very cute, easy to read book that I think Cancers would like. The next sign is Leo, the lion. They're another fire sign. They're pretty outgoing, but they can be known to be like selfish. But I think they're pretty like energetic and happy-go-lucky. But a book I would recommend to them is Happy Place. This is a romance book between these 2 people who actually have recently broken up. I think they were engaged before. They've broken up, but they haven't told their friends yet. So when they get invited to this like cabin weekend with all their friends, they pretend to still be together so that they don't ruffle any feathers with their friend group and don't kind of ruin this weekend that they have with their friends who they barely see anymore. So it's a fake dating kind of story, but it's definitely very fun and flirty. These 2 main characters have really good banter and very good chemistry, and I think Leos would really like that. I feel like they're very like fun and flirty people, so I think a romance book generally would be quite good for them, especially one like this. Also, I feel like one of the themes in this is kind of having empathy for your friends and like being more understanding, as it focuses a lot on the friendships between all these people. And as I mentioned before, Leos tend to be a little bit self-centered, a little, you know, focused on themselves. And so reading about this story, I think could be a good little reminder for them to like check in on your friends, think about how they're feeling. It's not all about you. No offense, but yeah. this is my rec for Leos. I also want to recommend The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is the first book in a fantasy series. It is YA, but it's about fairies. And our main character, Jude, who is one of the only humans in this fairy world, and so she's had to become very tough and kind of learn how to deal with fairy politics and stuff like that. And then there is this prince named Carden who she has this like enemies to lovers romance with. There's a lot of like political drama, political intrigue. It's very fast paced and very, very entertaining. So that's why I think Leo would like it with their fiery energy. I think they need something, as I said before, kind of very energetic and fast paced. I think that would really work for them. They need to be entertained, you know what I mean? And so I think this series would definitely do it. It was such a fun series. There's 3 books and they were very quick for me to get through. Earlier this year, I had a really good time, so. Now we have Virgo, the Virgins. They are an earth sign, so pretty grounded. A book I want to recommend to them is the Arc of a Scythe series. So the first book is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is a YA dystopian series, but it's so good. Like, not enough people talk about this series. It is so good. But the reason I would recommend this for Virgo is because as earth signs, I feel like they really like structure and rules and ethics, and that is some stuff that is involved in this book. In this series, as I said, it's dystopian, so we're in the future where technology is so advanced, where basically humans don't die from natural causes because the healing technology is so good or whatever. So there are these people called scythes, and it is their job to kill people at random. They can't have any biases or anything like that. They literally just kill people randomly. And we're specifically following these 2 people who are apprentices training to become scythes, and then there's actually a bit of a competition between the 2 of them for who will actually make it through, a bit of a star-crossed lovers thing. So yeah, I just think they would really enjoy reading about this world and the different rules and systems that are in place. That was definitely one of my favorite parts about this book, along with the character stuff. I think they would appreciate it. Another book I just recently read and think they would like is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, for similar reasons. So this is following a character, Kel, and he gets chosen to be the prince's sword catcher in this world. And basically what that means is he is the prince's protector. He has to pretend to be the prince in certain situations where they think the prince might be in danger, and basically catch the swords that are meant for the prince. Along with that, we're also following another character, Lynn, who is one of the only people in this world that still has magic. And so we're exploring kind of what it's like to be an Ashkar person, which is someone with magic in this world. There's a lot of political intrigue. Again, this sort of story I think would be interesting to the earth signs because of that. I think they again would be interested in like the rules of this world, the magic system, which we are constantly learning about. It's a little bit info dumpy at the start, but you honestly learn so much. I think that, you know, an analytical person like Virgos would really like this. They also can be a little judgy. And I mean, this story has kings and queens, princes and stuff. They're all very judgy in this society, right? Of the nobles and the high up families. So, you know, I feel like they would like that. They would like to see the drama and the tea as well. Next up, we have Libra, which is my sign. They are the scales and they're an air sign. One of the books I think Libras would like is The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This is also a YA series. It is about this girl, Belly. You probably have heard of the show as well if you don't know the book. But it's a teenage girl named Belly, and one summer she just glows up, right, as people do. These 2 boys that she's been friends with her whole life, she starts to actually have romantic feelings for them, and they have it for her, and this love triangle kind of forms. And I think Libras, speaking as one myself, would eat up a love triangle. And especially like Libras are so indecisive, so I think Libras are the type to be in a love triangle themselves because they can't decide who they like and who they want to be with. So I think that could definitely be like a relatable, entertaining thing for them. They're also known to be very social and flirty, and you know, this is a summer book where Belly's just getting into dating and talking to boys and flirting, and her friend Taylor is very much into that as well in the book. So I think Libras would just have a nice fun time with this. There definitely is still like emotional stuff happening as well in the background, background, but I just think the overall themes that I mentioned, Libras would eat it up. Next, I also think they would like Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. This is following two students in high school who used to be friends, so it's a little bit of friends to lovers, but like they have recently turned enemies. So it's also kind of enemies to lovers, and they get kind of forced together for this school education related project. I guess it also has forced proximity. It has all the tropes, but this was cool because it's a YA book, which normally are very coming of age, but this one was very focused on the romance between the two, which was really nice. As I said, they don't totally get along. They're a little bit of an opposites attracting, and I think Libras would like that as they very much love balance and equality. The characters are also, I think, both pursuing law, like being lawyers, and Libras are all about justice and, as I said, like equality, and I think they would enjoy reading about these two characters and how they interact. Now we have Scorpio, one of the water signs. So I'm going to recommend them Ninth House by Lee Bardugo, and I'm so excited to recommend this because it's a 5-star read that I just had recently, and it was so good. It's a dark academia novel that is also fantasy. We're following our character Alex Stern, who has a bit of a mysterious past, but we know that she can see ghosts, and that has led her now to be working at Yale University, or going there and working with Yale's secret societies. So there are 8 secret societies there that all have different magic. She is part of the 9th house, or the 9th secret society, that kind of keeps watch on all these societies, make sure they stay in line and follow the rules, and also protects them. The reason I think Scorpios would like this is that it's a very dark book and very mysterious. We also have a murder mystery going on that Alex is investigating. Scorpios are known to be kind of like dark and evil, but I don't want to call them that. But like they're very mysterious, keep to themselves. So I think they would probably like relate to Alex and be very intrigued by this and all of like the witchy, ghosty, darkness stuff that's going on. I just think it screams Scorpio. Then I would recommend them You're Invited by Amanda Jayatisa. This is a thriller book, so again, a bit of a darker story, following a girl who is invited to her ex-best friend's and ex-boyfriend's wedding. And so she goes there with the goal to kind of ruin the wedding. We know that something happens to the bride in the future, so we don't know if she actually like went through with it and killed her or what, but our main character is definitely suspicious as she, you know, kind of wants to get revenge on these people and has some animosity towards them. It was so good. Like, it's definitely an underrated thriller for sure. It was so twisty and so interesting. Scorpios are also known to be a bit like obsessive and secretive, so that is the main reason I recommended this for them. The main character definitely has a bit of an obsession with her ex-best friend and ex-boyfriend, and there's a lot of secret keeping going on with her and the other characters, so I recommend this for you, Scorpio. Now we have Sagittarius. This is the final fire sign of the zodiac. I would like to recommend Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Suntanto for Sagittarius. So this is a cozy mystery kind of book. We have our main character who works with her aunties on weddings, but one day they set her up on this blind date. She ends up killing her date, and they end up having to try and hide the body and kind of get away with murder while also putting on this wedding. And this is such a crazy, hectic book that I think Sagittariuses would love it. Again, I keep kind of recommending these types of books to fire signs because I feel like they just had that very energetic, wild personalities, especially Sagittarius. They're so outgoing, fun, and funny. And this is like such a hilarious book. I needed to recommend something funny to Sagittarius, so that is why I'm recommending this. It also has a subplot of romance as well, so that is fun and that is cute. Another fun, cute book for them would be The Extraordinaries by TJ Klune. This is the first book in a YA superhero series. In this, we're following Nick, and he is this gay ADHD boy in high school who writes fan fiction about superheroes, the superheroes that are in his town. And he has a crush on one of them, and then he ends up getting kind of wrapped up in the superhero world himself. This is super funny, as I said, and I think Sagittariuses would like it because of Nick's humor, the main character. He's so great, he's so cheerful, and there's a lot of caring, kind characters, cute relationships between Nick and his dad and his friends and his love interest. I just think it'd be a really fun, funny, cute read for Sagittariuses that they would really appreciate. All right, we're getting close to the end here with Capricorn, our final earth sign. This is a little bit random, but I wanted to recommend Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody for Capricorn. This has kind of a complex, interesting magic system. And that's something that I've kind of said before that I think earth signs would be very interested in. Capricorns are very like analytical, ambitious. This book is very much about getting power, playing the right games to get power. We're following our main character, N. She's raised by this woman who ends up going missing when she goes to the City of Sin. So then N goes after her, trying to find her adopted mother, and then gets wrapped up in this dark world of games. And as I said, like a fight for power, and there's a bunch of magic. And I did find it a little kind of hard to wrap my head around this world at first, but I think that will be very intriguing for Capricorns. Also, I feel like earth signs in general, especially Capricorns, like to play by the rules, play by the book, and maybe seeing some like darkness and like, as it says, sinning in the City of Sin might be kind of interesting for them. Maybe help them let loose a little. Another book to recommend to Capricorn is The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This is about two people who work at this radio show place, and they end up coming up with this idea for exes to host a radio show together. So these two characters end up pretending to be exes. It's like a play on the fake dating thing, where they're not pretending to fake date, they're pretending to have fake dated and broken up. So very interesting, and this was one of my favorite romances that I read. The reason I think Capricorns might like this is because, as I said, they're very like career focused and want to be successful, and this is one of the romances that I think is very much focused on that and trying to have a successful career, a successful radio show. As much as it is fun and cute and hot with the romance, there's still a lot of focus on that career stuff, and I think they would appreciate it. Now we have Aquarius, the final water sign in the zodiac, and I'm going to recommend them Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. This is a YA contemporary coming of age novel about our main character who doesn't really fit in anywhere at her high school. She's still kind of contemplating her identity and figuring out who she is. She's definitely more of an outcast, and then she ends up bonding with this other kind of outcast named Alid, and it's really about their friendship and their joint passions over this podcast that they work on together. The reason I think it would be good for Aquarius is that they are known to be like very unique, play by their own rules. Maybe a lot of them end up being outcasts because of that, because they are so unique and go to the beat of their own drum, all that kind of stuff. So I think they would really appreciate this book, and seeing these characters who are very original, maybe they could relate to it. My second book for Aquarius is going to be The Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. We're following our main character, Yadriel, and it's a very unique book again, so that's why I wanted to recommend for Aquarius. But Yadriel is actually a trans boy from this Latinx community of brujos and brujas, and so he's really trying to prove himself to his family. But one day when he performs this ritual, it ends up kind of backfiring and summoning this ghost of a boy he used to go to school with. And then there's like a romance between the two, as well as sort of a mystery of like who killed this boy, Julian. And also he has a missing cousin. Like there's some other intriguing things going on, but I thought it was a really cool, unique book. I also feel like Yadriel is very focused on, you know, saving humanity in a way, like saving the ghosts, saving the people in his community, the spirits, etc. And Aquariuses are also very known for that, like wanting to save the world, fighting for others, justice, that kind of thing. So I just also think they would appreciate those aspects of the book. Now we have the final sign in the zodiac, which is Pisces, a water sign, and they are quite watery, quite emotional. I'm going to recommend The Last Hour series by Cassandra Clare, another Cassie Clare book. This is taking place like in the Edwardian era, back in the past. We're following a bunch of different Shadowhunter families, and the main reason I want to recommend this to Pisces is because it deals with so many different relationships and so many different like angsty emotions between all of our different characters. And Pisces are very like sensitive, very emotional, in touch with their emotions. I think they would really appreciate such a focus on these relationships. I think it would get them in their feels, and I think they would love that. They would embrace that. This is also fantasy, so these characters are also Shadowhunters who are fighting demons. I think in this book book, there hasn't been that many demon attacks, but then the demons start attacking in the daytime or something like that. But mostly this focuses a lot on the interpersonal relationships between people, the romances, so I think they would like that. Now, for the second book for Pisces, it's another fantasy because Pisces are very much people I think that would enjoy fantasy and escaping reality. That's what they're known for. So I think they would like the Raven Cycle series by Maggie Stiefvater. The first book is The Raven Boys. This is a very dreamy series, literally. It deals with dreams and dreaming. So I think Pisces, as the dreamers, would totally get into this. We're following our main character, Blue, who comes from like a psychic family, and then she ends up getting wrapped up in this quest with this group of boys. All of these boys kind of has their own relationship to magic and like psychic stuff going on, as their town is on top of like some ley lines. So they go on this quest to find this old dead king. Very much has those fun, deep relationships between all the characters, which again, I think Pisces would like. I definitely like it. Great romances, great friendships, and just such an interesting world and sort of magic system that just gets built on with each book. So this is for you, Pisces. And that's gonna end off the video. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I tried to go quickly through each recommendation, but those are my recs for all of the zodiac sign. Definitely let me know if you agree, and hope you'll subscribe for future book recommendation videos and reading vlogs and all that kind of stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!